So, okay, 9:09. It is that time. Let's do this. Let's bring on Haley. You guys, is she there?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Guys, let us know how the audio is for Haley. Say hello.
Hello. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for doing it.
Sweet. This chat is going crazy.
It goes pretty fast.
It's awesome. It's cool. I don't do a lot of live streams, so thanks for having me. And it's cool to like interact live with people, and otherwise it's just sort of responding to comments after the fact. So this is really cool.
Yeah, it is neat, and it's kind of nice
Sweet.
to put yourself on the spot sometimes. I mean, it's easy after the videos are done to get in the comment sections when you're ready, but it's all flying at you live right now, which is scary and exciting and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. This is awesome. I'm actually super shy. It's weird because I think just recently going to our flying field, which, yeah, it's a crazy, super rough landing. It's one of sort of the only spots that we can fly locally. But yeah, people were like, oh, are you the girl from the internet? So we'll go there and like people start to recognize me now, was kind of cool. But
that is cool when that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's kind of
it's kind of surreal.
It is surreal. I got a little story then off of that note. I was in Florida just the other day, and I sound like a jet setter. I'd like never go anywhere, but I'm going to make it sound like I do this all the time. So yeah, just the other day, I'm in Florida, and I'm getting picked up by another YouTuber, our friend Mary Boozer. His name's Wesley Miller, was picking me up at the airport, and the truck in front of him rolled down his window and told me he watched my videos. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy.
Totally crazy. Totally crazy. So let's talk about that. We're going to get into everything a little bit. So, I was teasing an origin story, and I think with RC, some guys have been in so long they've got a few where they've stopped and started again. You're a young person, I mean, and your channel is like what, 3 years old?
Yeah, I think maybe 6 years old now.
Is it 6?
I'm getting older.
I don't know where I read that.
It might have been on my website, which is out of date.
Okay.
Reminder to update that, but yeah.
Maybe just a little. But so I guess I know when you updated it last. So yeah, guys, her website is dialed in, by the way. But
thank you.
Yeah, so 6 years ago, and we're gonna talk about RCs, but I kind of just feeling like the YouTube vibe right now. So but I'm going to get there backwards. So I'm on the fly. I told you I never know what I'm going to do, right? So you started doing RC when you were how many years old?
When I was 17, but took like a huge break from when I started in the surface side to when I got back into it. So yeah, 6 years ago, got back into it. My partner actually bought me a Truggy from Hobby King. It was sort of like a modernized version of, like super like crazy basher. And so I was like, oh, well, this would be really cool. We watched a bunch of videos on YouTube, like unboxings and stuff just before we got it, basically watched all the videos of it that were online. And I was like, oh, we should start, doing a video, maybe just of unboxing this like other people have. There's not many girls that do it. So that's sort of how it started of, getting back into the RC after many, many years away. Lots to learn too. Yeah.
So that's cool. So early on, so 17, you had some experience with RC, but probably, correct me if I'm wrong too, YouTube probably maybe wasn't on the radar. And then you have this hiatus, you come back to RC, you got the gift, and then it sounds like then you kind of got back into it and decided to start YouTube at the same time.
Sort of. Yeah. I watched my first video, which is so embarrassing. Someone commented yesterday, like, oh, wow, I haven't been to your channel in a long time and your videos got a lot better. So yeah, as I learned more, as I got better equipment and stuff. But yeah, it's been a while since my very first video. And I wasn't like, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. It just kind of sort of happened. And then I had maybe 1 or 2 videos. And then a year later, I had 1,000 subscribers, and I wasn't really like cultivating the channel too much. I was like, oh, maybe there's something here. And I just did reviews on, things that I had, things that I bought myself. And sort of like, hey, but how do you update your shocks, or how do you do this, and sort of tutorials sort of from a beginner's perspective. And I think that's sort of the lens that I try to bring to the channel is like, hey, anyone can learn a new skill. You don't have to be like a pro or an expert in it. You can sort of learn as you go, and use YouTube actually to learn a lot of skills. And so that was sort of, I wanted people to see it as approachable and that they can learn sort of alongside me. And that's, sort of the angle that I bring to my channel is trying to encourage more women, more newbies, and not make it super intimidating, because there's a lot to learn in RC.
There is a lot to learn. And I think the audacity to try things is one of, if you have that, you can go as far as you want. And I think sometimes people need a little encouragement to get that on their own. So when they see someone working it out, it gives them the confidence to, just like your aim, to maybe give it a shot. That's neat. Were there any inspirations? Like, were there other channels that you had noticed and you're like, wow, I can do that? You don't have to name them out, but boy, I could do that, or I could do that better. Did you have any YouTube background at all? Because I tell you what I see from you now, I mean, is knowing YouTube a little bit. Like when I watch your stuff and all your other socials too, you really know how to do it well. I mean, it's like, if there's a book to follow on how to, develop a channel and a personal brand around a topic, you've got it dialed in. So did that just come as time progressed, or are there any channels you looked up to, whether they were RC or not, that kind of steered you in that direction? Because I got to say, when you first start YouTube, at least when I first started YouTube, I thought I was some kind of SEO whiz kid just because I put the name of the product in the title, But there's a little bit more to it than that. So were your first videos already coming out the gate strong with the SEO game and things like that, or did it take a minute to get there? And where'd you pick it up at?
Definitely took a minute to get there. I didn't have any like viral videos or anything. It's just like a slow growth. So, you can go the viral route. Some people do, and you have one video that's super popular that helps kind of spearhead your channel. But a lot of it's just a lot of work and learning as you go, and not being afraid to not have a perfect video. Like my first ones, as I say, like, were not very great and the audio was terrible. And I was filming on my phone for most of my channel up until recently. And so I think the first channel where I was like, oh, this is super cool, was Aussie RC Playground. He's based in Australia, of course.
Yeah.
But he does a ton of bashing, and that's Basher Sabretooth I saw on his channel for the first time.
Okay.
So he was sort of like the first RC channel that I ever really subscribed to.
Okay.
But yeah, more recently, like Skill Builders Guild. So on the surface side, like lots of techniques that I've gotten from him, like sort of chatting with him, like, how do you do this, or how do you do that? And being on the, on Skill Builders Guild website and stuff. So a lot of weathering techniques and stuff have been really interesting. The idea about vinyl came from him, vinyl and RC. So yeah, lots of different channels, honestly. But even the smaller ones are cool too. And just sort of having that intimate vibe of being on someone's bench and stuff is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we can be all fancy with the words and SEO and this and that, but what it boils down to is somebody is sharing their hobby, their passion with others, because they think it's going to be helpful, and they also maybe want to just document their process. Yeah, those guys are a good time, Scale Builders Guild and Harley Designs.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that FMS Rock Hobby Jeep was what steered me to crawlers in the first place, which led me to them and to you. Sweet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's funny how that rabbit hole works, and I just got into bashing and surface stuff really, I mean, a year ago. and those channels, Aussie RC Playground, I love watching his stuff because he'd run it on, 3S and 4S or 4S and
Yeah, he, like
6S
sends it. It's crazy.
and send
Uh,
it. And
for
then
sure.
there's other guys that send it crazy that I remember, like I was talking the other day about there's a voice for whatever season you're in at the time. So when I was first getting into bashing, I watched guys like Duper Bash
Rich. Yeah.
or Vass at Aussie RC Playground
Hmm.
and Eric RC Dude just really send it. And you knew they were doing a bunch of upgrades and things too, and they were telling you they were. And I was like, well, I'm just trying to figure it out. So that's not really for me right now. But the best, I feel like, middle ground was Aussie RC Playground. And then that's how I found Tony too at CCXRC, who
Hmm.
I think does a fantastic job too. Um, really likes monster trucks, but like does some great basher stuff and does some crawling and he works in video also as his real job.
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't
So
know
he's stepping to YouTube like correct, and you can just tell those things if you're been doing YouTube for a minute. So that's interesting and I don't know. Yeah, I think that's really neat. YouTube. There's
that.
more I'll think of,
It's a
I'm sure.
rabbit hole for sure.
It really is. And when, so how long had you been on YouTube before you thought, I'm really onto something?
Yeah, it was about a year when I had like a couple videos and then I checked back. I was like, oh, 1,000 people. Maybe I should do something. And so I started doing more videos. It was only probably like maybe one a month. And then actually one of the first companies to reach out to me was RC Mart. And they're like, we know you don't do a ton of videos, but um, are you interested in a TRX4 Defender? I was like, sure. So that was sort of my
Yeah.
first crawler. And then from there, I felt like that was my niche in RC. I mean, I love flying too, which came after the Defender actually. But yeah, crawling is just, it's a lot of, there's just a lot of different facets of the hobby. There's like the electronics and getting that all dialed. There's the art aspect and the painting and sort of the weathering piece of it. And there's the scale piece of it too, which is so fun. And so and then also just the being outdoors. I really enjoy too. And like you can, be mountain biking and you can use that same terrain to
Yeah.
rock crawlers. So I feel like most of my friends now like have an RC rock crawler, which is awesome.
Was that an easy fit for you to, because when I think of your crawler game, I think it's really dynamite. What was it easy? Is that already how you're wired to upgrade stuff and take it to the next level and really customize it? Was an easy fit for you because you really deliver those videos super well, and it does take those rigs to the next level. I mean, I can't hardly stand to look at one. It's like a new pair of shoes. It's just get them dirty, you know. I
They're too
can't stand
shiny.
it. Yeah, they're too
Uh,
shiny. Get them dirty. I'm not a guy who counts rivets, but I tell you, I really like those crawlers when they have those embellishments. That was an easy route for you to take.
for sure. Like I like the compliment. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you tricked me for a minute. I thought that was a full scale car or rig or whatever at the moment." So I like, the photographic aspect of it too, making them look like tricking people that they're actually scale trail rigs or not scale trail rigs, full size trail rigs. So yeah, to me that's super fun. And
If
I
you
feel like
guys want to see what we're talking about and you haven't yet, check out Haley's socials. Follow her on Instagram. There's always great stuff. There's always a story. I mean, she is really doing it. So was that TRX Defender, TRX4, right? Defender, was that your first like sponsored product? Because that always, those first, I started off in magazines, so I'll never forget some of my first products that I got for magazine. Just like I'll never forget some of the first products I started to receive from companies that I didn't buy, because you feel like you're getting somewhere. Was that one of the first ones then?
Yeah, I think so. I might have done a couple like some more toy grade RC before that, but that was my first like actual, yeah, like hobby grade RC that was a legit crawler. So
Yeah,
yeah, for
super
sure,
legit. I have some crawlers and I'm really happy, but I know a TRX4 is in my future. It's just inevitable.
for
Somehow or
sure.
another, I got to do one.
A lot of different
Uh,
body styles. There's the
yeah,
sport, and then there's the the defender, and so
I kind of
Bronco.
want the two-speed one
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just because I don't have, I didn't do the two-speed. I didn't put in the servo on my Axial SCX 10.3 for that. But I dig that it has the dig and that's good enough. But I kind of like
two speed's pretty
having
cool. Yeah, and the locking dips.
the dig is totally cool, right? And then the lights and everything. But you know, you take it to the Gen 8, which is very comparable. You upgrade it and you're right there at the same level, it feels like. But so all
For
right.
sure.
What was your first and we can always circle back, guys. I don't want to stay on one thing too long because I think I could go there, just stay.
We
Um,
could talk about planes too.
I want to also, and I want to talk about the Gen 8 stuff. I know some more as well, but so your first plane that you ever flew, was that while you had this channel, or had you done some of that before YouTube?
Yeah, no, that was definitely during this channel. My partner, actually, he's into RC planes, and I just thought it was no way I'd be able to fly RC planes. And so we did a couple scratch builds like the FT Flyer from the flight test
Oh yeah,
guys,
yeah, yeah.
which are also they're so amazing at inspiring people to pick up the RC flight, which is super cool. And so yeah, you have like the little power pod, and you can fly that. I think it's like a 2 or 3 channel plane.
Yeah.
So that was like my first ever getting in the air experience, other than learning the simulator and all the controls and stuff. So I crashed that
Yeah.
so many times, and basically, yeah, it's like a mess of tape and glue and popsicle sticks. I don't even know if I still have that. But then the Horizon guys were like, "Hey, are you interested in learning, trying some of Learn to Fly series of aircraft?" And I was like, "Sure, that would be cool." And so it sort of started from like super fresh a couple years ago, not flying the FT Flyer, and then going to the Sport Cub S as like
Yeah,
the first
the blue
ever.
and white one.
The little tiny guy.
I
There's more
remember.
packaging, more foam in the packaging than the actual plane itself.
That's
But
right. Did you film the your go at the flight test stuff?
I don't think I did. No, that
Okay.
was like the behind the scenes embarrassing. Like, let me figure out if I can even do this. Um, yeah, I should have done that though. It would have been funny.
I love your flight videos. So it's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure I saw your blue and white hobby Hobby Zone Sport Cub S
Mm-hmm.
available. Say that 10 times real fast. Available at Horizon Hobby. And then
S2 now.
so after that, had did you stay on it with planes, or did you kind of just let it mellow and then get into them? So that was your first sponsored uh,
Yeah,
plane then
flight
as
video.
well.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. What did I? So then I'll have to go look at my channel and see my progression. But I tried the Blade 120, the helicopter. So that was, I
Yeah,
think that's one of my most popular videos, actually. It's one of the only air helicopters that I've flown, but people keep saying, oh, you got to get back into that. Um,
yeah,
and then I think the Carbon Cub, which was another one of the bush planes, which I was super into bush planes. I watch a lot of the um, Trent Palmer videos and stuff,
yeah.
flying in the backcountry. So yeah, I think, and I also bought a timber. I bought my own timber. I was like, I put it together before I could even fly it.
Which
Uh,
one? Because there are so many.
The original one, the
Okay.
red and
Yeah,
white one.
yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't think they make that one anymore.
So you
Yeah.
learned. So you've learned how to fly then, except for the flight test one, with the Spectrum Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you've got to enjoy AS3X
Yes.
at least always, and probably also safe,
Yep. I
which
think that's,
is
yeah,
great.
it's great technology. I feel like I'm stuck in safe though. I can, in the simulator, I can hover, I can do all the crazy, aerobatics. And then when I get in the field, I'm like, oh, I don't want to crash. So that's my next challenge, is getting out of the using safe. Sure.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a minute, because safe is wonderful, but it's one of those things like a lot of us advise our friends to use it when they need to, but get out of it as much as possible. Because if it is about developing muscle memory, what you learn with safe is to oversteer it. So
Yep.
then when because it takes almost, a lot of times it takes almost all the stick it has to come around. And so once you take safe off, and or if you're flying any of the progressive mode equipped planes that have expert, intermediate, and beginner mode, basically the beginner mode is safe. So anything that's in a beginner mode or safe has got that bank limiting going on, and it takes a lot of stick to come around. So we say use it when you need to, but try to get used to, if you can help it, not use it, because you're going to train yourself to really overdo it at the worst possible place to be overdoing it, which is at either one end of the field and it's time to turn and come back around, because that's where things happen. You're turning, you scrub off your speed, you're at a bank angle, all the lift, the whole equation changes once you turn this thing. And you're on both ends of the field, scrubbing off speed, turning, and it's really easy that if it does get out of whack, in the turns like that, you may not know where you're at when you recover, if you can recover. So yeah, you'll get it. I know you will.
Yeah. It doesn't self-level the plane either when you get out of safe. So
That's right. That's right.
I've taken off a couple times without safe on, and I'm like, whoa, it feels all squirrely. I'm almost there though. Sometimes I'll switch it off when I'm high enough, and I feel like I can do it, but I feel like I always fall back on like, all right, well, safe's on, I could just cruise.
Yeah. I went for a long time not using safe at all, because it's easy to just. I'm very aware of the viewer, I feel like, a lot of times, but for such a long time, I just didn't even think about the fact that it could be super useful for me to also say what I feel the plane is doing when it's in safe and when it's not. Because for my channel, people tend to appreciate I guess that I'm telling folks what I see, how I'm handling it, what I'm doing to get the results or not get the results. So I felt like forever I missed the boat not doing safe, because personally I don't need it. But I tell you, I've been putting it on all the stuff that has it. Or if I use the AR637T, I'm programming it in, because I think it's really, Spectrum's got to love it if I'm putting their equipment in somebody else's plane and showing off this tech. And so it's as far as videos go, it's really great to be able to talk about the differences there. But what I've noticed is, because I do have it available, I'm using it. If it's stupid windy, I'm using it. If I fly it through the sun, even though I'll probably be okay once I can get my vision back, I'm just going to go ahead and flip that switch until I do. It is super nice to have. So it's not for everybody, and that debate can go on and on. But
yeah,
you're
I see both sides of it.
Yeah, right. I do too. And everybody's free to choose what they want to do. For me, I think the gyrotech is awesome, almost no matter how you get there, whether it's Spectrum or some of the other stuff. I mean, it's beneficial most of the time. So in the Yellow Trojan video you did, which you guys have to watch it, it's so fun. There's nothing like, some of us have been doing this for a minute where we forget about being nervous or how nervous we were, but I just love watching you do this, because it's palpable, like the nerves and then the relief when you get it down and all of that stuff. And then I got to call out your cameraman, dude.
Mountain Mike. I think he might be on the chat. I don't know.
It's fantastic. I could always tell. I was like, Mountain Mike knows what he flies. I could kind of tell that you had somebody close to you that was kind of help getting you going a little bit, like definitely helpful flying some. So
For
Mountain
sure.
Mike, you're a boss, dude.
You definitely need a mentor for sure. If
Wherever you
folks that
are.
are, watching that are thinking about getting into flight, like find a friend, find somewhere where you can learn from someone because it's so hard. It's like I don't know how people like mad props to people that learned without safe and without all this technology that, balsa, you used to have to build a balsa plane with no stabilization, no safe, and then, spend hours and hours. I don't know how people did it back in the day when, yeah. So
I
it's tough to
know.
learn. You need a good mentor for sure.
It's great, and you do. And I think, and guys have heard me say this
Mountain
before. I
bike.
think with the internet, yeah, I saw him in there. With the internet, we all have the ability to be on the accelerated learning program if we tune into the voices on YouTube that deliver some kind of value or share in a way that appeals to the viewer. You know what I mean? You can uh, you just learn together. Way easier than pre-internet. I mean, I've only been doing this since 2009, and so when I crashed all my first planes, you get online to figure out how to fix them, and then rabbit holes and such, and then you watch videos and you're like, wow, I could do that, and then you're a YouTuber all of a sudden. But yeah,
Can we
mad
pause
props to
there?
all
Can
the
I ask you something?
you could
How,
what me.
yeah, how many planes have you crashed?
Um, I don't know a lot. I'm sure.
Like in the tens or beyond that?
I'd probably say it's in the tens,
That's not too bad.
tens, 20, 30. I don't count, but I've been at it a minute, so there's so many I forget about. Um,
Yeah. I think that's the thing for me. It's like I'm so afraid to crash that I can't like progress to the next level that I need to take. So I think that's with the Corsair video. That was my first non-horizon plane. It did have the sort of the beginner mode, but yeah, that was a challenge. So crashing, I felt like, okay, I've gotten that out of the way. Time to like
yeah,
full force in my flight journey.
I think all of us guys who really know this hobby would watch your Corsair video and not hold any of that against you at all because warbirds are tricky anyway. Small ones are even tougher, honestly. And that takes me to this point. So do you still have your timber?
Yeah, I do. Yep. It's
Revisit you know what, go back and revisit uh sometime planes that you've already worked, and
mm-hmm.
you'll surprise yourself. You're like, oh man, like what if the timber seemed like you didn't just own it back in the day. You after you fly a few, now go back and it's like, oh wow, this is nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
talking about how things don't self level without safe, when you've got a high wing plane like that, um, it kind of will.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
true.
I mean, I've got all kinds of stuff. I mean, we kind of personally are in the advanced foamy category, kind of flirting with balsa, that kind of stuff, performance. But I get to fly a range of things because of the relationships with brands, which I love. But I will never get rid of my turbo timber. I think that's a fantastic bird. And I've got a lot of high wing stuff. I got a lot of civilian stuff. I got a lot of planes, y'all. But that turbo timber is neat, just like the first one. And I think you revisit those things sometimes, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm getting this.
Yeah. I still fly that one a ton actually. And actually Mountain Mike's his go-to is the Timber X. So
Okay,
flies that a
yeah, he
bunch.
can do some 3D, I bet,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, he hopped on your Trojan and did a circuit inverted, I think, and he did a ton of aerobatics.
Yeah, he's been flying 10 plus years, maybe longer than that. I guess maybe chat it how long you've been flying Mountain Mike. A long time.
I like it. I like, and I edit videos, so like I appreciate everything you leave in. Like he had that little line in your Trojan video about like this thing does way better on like 3 wires than two or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I
That
appreciate that stuff.
yeah, the motor failed. That was crazy. So I just got a new lens. Thank you so much to my Patreon patrons. So I bought a zoom lens with stabilization so I can get better flight footage. And so it was, starting to film the first, just press record. He takes it up and then he's like, oh shoot, the motor went out and then a car was coming by. It was just like all sorts of bad could have happened.
You couldn't plan that drama any better. And so glad it was on film and so glad that stuff makes it into the video. I love it.
It was crazy.
Your quad stuff was pretty dope also. So just curious, who flies the quad when you guys are doing that?
Yeah, I think I have maybe 1 or 2 quad videos. Oh, the Mavic Mini.
Okay.
So he's been doing that. We kind of sort of trade off, but all the landings with the drone were me. So like there's like a perfect landing, and we practiced that so many times. We like went around a bunch of times, tried to land it, or like I would land perfectly and the shot wasn't right, or I would land terribly and the shot was right. And so we finally got like one perfect landing. It's awesome. So yeah, that was fun.
So good. I'm watching this stuff today. We're at the warehouse, getting ready to go out and fly one before we come and do this. And I was like, Bobby, the B-roll here at the end of this video is awesome. Like this quad stuff looked amazing. Yeah. So you guys both fly that, but that was you flying the Trojan in those clips.
Yeah.
So what's your next plane? What are you doing next?
Everyone keeps commenting, oh, you got to get an EDF jet next now that you got the Warbirds. I'm not too sure what I'm going to fly next. Honestly, we have a ton of planes in our plane hangar. I feel like for me, the next step is just getting out of safe mode. So I think use the models that I have. I think just get better at what I'm doing with what I have. I know that's not an exciting answer, but.
No, that's respectable. I don't think most of us probably wouldn't be saying like, let's go EDFs yet. Probably.
I'm not happening for a little while at least.
It's not a diss at all. It's only lately that we could even consider EDFs being a first model at all. And the Habu Ready to Fly, STS, you're probably familiar with, is one of those planes that they actually touted as a beginner, and not like as a beginner RC in general, not just like, okay, you know what's up, here's your first EDF. No, this is like actually billed as being a potentially first RC aircraft at all. Mm-hmm. And that thing comes with like a Diet Junior of like Real Flight or something, and we got one, we worked it up. And of course, the people on the street are like, no way can you recommend this for a new person. And so with that being said, I got my neighbor who's never flown at all and brought him out to the field, and he worked it out. But he had a veteran there next to him. Mm-hmm. And the plane was already set up. I took it around a couple times, showed him how to land it. And I was like, okay, now when we're talking about this in a little while, you'll know what I mean because you've seen it. And what I'm getting to there is if you don't hold back the nose, if you don't go back pressure on the elevator when you're coming in to bleed the speed and kind of level off and flare it, you're just going to chunk it in. So bleeding the speed and holding it off is really the trick on so many of the EDFs. I wanted the guy to be familiar with it, and so I put that in his vocabulary. And so when the time came, he was able to work it out. So we proved that with help, a new person can work it out on an EDF. However, I would always say as much sim time as possible. And if you can have someone who has prior flight experience with you, cracking off the first flight, making sure things dialed, that's definitely going to be a better experience than just starting from nothing.
For sure.
And trying it. There are, it's a nice light EDF. It doesn't have to fly very fast to keep from stalling, but it still is a jet. So, high wing stuff is really nice. And you've been working it out with the Warbirds. I remember hearing you mention it in your, intro. aside from the Corsair, that Trojan was your first like low wing Warbird,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, so two ever. First the Corsair, and then the T28. And the T28 definitely glides a lot more than the Corsair did. But yeah, completely different size models for sure. I think the Warbirds and the EDF jets are great at inspiring new people to take up the hobby, but I think it's deceiving too. Like, you don't want to start with those models by any means, maybe unless the one you were talking about. I actually saw a Facebook thread about that one, and someone said, "This is my first plane," and everyone was like bashing him. Don't start with an EDF. And then they're like, "No, actually, that you can start with this one maybe." So yeah, the forums.
Mountain Mike says he's seen a lot of EDFs die at your field.
Oh, yeah, man, a story on that. We were going out and a kid comes up with, I don't know, it's like a camo. It's a pretty big EDF jet. It's like the camo gray. I don't know what model it is, but he's like, "Oh, this is my first plane." It's 6S too.
Yeah.
In addition to being an EDF, it was on 6S. And his dad had bought it for him. And so they were maidening it, and it was it was like destined for failure. I think they did like one circle, and it was just like full speed into the ground. Nose busted off. The lipo like was crunched up, which is a no-no. So they didn't really even know about lipo safety. So they look cool, but don't start with them. I had the Sport Cabess or the Apprentice or Mini Apprentice, and I was like, maybe you should start with these ones. But
exactly. In micros, you can crash them a lot. They don't have enough mass to hurt themselves usually, which is great for getting started. And you do have to fly for where you're at too. I mean, some stuff's almost irresponsible depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
Obviously, joining a club and stuff is the way to go if you're flying something that's got some size to it. So I have a feeling you're going to be flying a lot more of that Trojan then. Yeah,
it's in my rotation now for sure. Usually when I'm going to the flying field, I'll bring a couple models. UMX Timber is one of them. It's just fun to kind of get the jitters out. The Valiant is also my go-to. It's just like it's on rails, probably one of the best flying planes that I've, at least for me, that I've flown. Super stable. And then, is behind me. It's super fun.
Folks love that Valiant. I never got to fly one, but it's really sporty, pretty honest flyer. I don't, it's what, some models only exist to be models. So they're made to fly well, and they do. Yeah. And then so much stuff is obviously replicas. So what's neat about that is a lot of the character exhibited in the full scale ones does translate somewhat to the behavior of the the model, which is cool. But that's definitely not always great when you're just learning. Because the worst thing about a crash for me always was when I was new was when it was a mystery. Like when I didn't know why I crashed it. Used to drive me absolutely bonkers. Like I like to know why. Nowadays I usually know why. It's me. I completely screwed up,
Yeah, well, you post a video of it and people will tell you why. You'll get 20 different reasons why that thing crashed and what you should have done differently.
That's true. Funny. And we put ourselves out there for it a little, right?
That's true. Yeah, so I like analyzing what I did wrong. For me, as I'm learning, I'm glad that it's filmed. I'm glad that I see it and I can correct that next time.
I think that's another great thing about your videos too, is because, listen, anybody can just polish up a whole bunch of mess and deliver a video. But the real value in a video is connecting with the person, the maker of the video, and the audience. So when you share truly what you're experiencing, it's a great way to, build your base. When you were talking about some of your landings and I'm not picking on you, it's all good stuff. And I loved how I saw them progressively get better through that video. Yeah. I just definitely wanted to honor your time as a guest with knowing exactly what I was talking about and watched a bunch of videos and stuff today. The first Trojan landing It was a long one, but you got it. And then they just kept getting better. And then that thing just floats and glides so well. And you said that a couple times. And that's a plane that's very simple. So there is no flaps. You really have to treat that Trojan a little bit like a lot of us treat our jets, where you get it close to the ground and you really need to pull that up elevator and commit in a way to bleed the speed. And when you do, it settles in real nice. But I heard you say at one time, you weren't where you wanted to be, and I think you might have even gave it down elevator to bring it lower.
Yeah, it's a
Which,
no.
yeah, and you saw what that gave you. It gave you a
More
bounce,
speed. Oh yeah.
and not. There's so many different reasons why a bounce can happen. It can happen because somebody's too slow in the first place. It can happen because they're too fast, but they didn't commit to the pitch. But yeah, I think that's there's so much there that people can learn from when you have the audacity and willingness to share your less than perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I had no baseline when you're first landing a new model and low-wing aircraft. I'm super new to that too. I have no baseline of like how to calibrate what that landing should look like. So actually I got the double flare from you, where you like flare it off, you bleed off that speed, and then you kind of flare it again. So yeah, I've been using that, and that works really well.
Whatever it takes, I mean, I'm not picking on you by all means, because I show my mistakes a lot because I make them plenty. So, I'll have the hot new thing and I'll bounce it all over the place. I mean, I'll take it out in another month and own it. But like,
I think I saw a 4S bounce on your 4S Trojan video. There was a one that where it bounced.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it happens.
I'm not picking on you or anything. But.
No, I can take it. And I think the folks who watch the videos actually really like our videos when we show and share that stuff, because that's what really is happening. Not everybody's perfect. Guys are doing this. They're bouncing them too. So good job for showing that stuff. And Bledsoe, thank you, man. Ryan's mistakes are most of my Facebook feed. Thank you. That's all right. I've monetized my mistakes. So
you kind of want to see, like, when I get a new model, I watch a bunch of videos, like, I want to see the beginners and how they handle it. And I want to see the pros and how they handle it. You want to see like the range of conditions that the model is put through, so you can know like, hey, where do I sit within that, and sort of, know how the model is going to handle in wind or not. And so, I think that's probably just, good for when you're learning a new model, just to see how different people fly it.
Especially, I agree. Like, it takes a minute to know what you're looking at. Just like with the Basher guys, I didn't really know what I was. I knew they were correcting in the air, but I hadn't put two and two together yet of how they were doing it, until I heard actually one guy on video. He's like, it does in the air what it does on the ground. You give it the gas, sitting still on the ground, the nose comes up, it wants to wheelie. You give it the brakes, it digs. So it's like a eureka moment. And I think when we show those less than perfect things, we give an opportunity to others who are trying to discern whether or not they want the thing or how to handle the thing, have an idea on what to do with theirs. Because ultimately, I think you and I both want people to be successful with what they're doing.
Yep, for sure.
Right? I think, for me, I love the hobby. I want people to be successful with what they're doing, for the hobby's sake, for the customer's sake, the whole thing. I think that's great.
Yeah, and I think that's why we included the motor failure piece in the T28 video, because it's like you could cut that out, and but it's also, that was our experience with it. And if someone has something go wrong with the model, I'm representing this model. I want people to know the true experience. So yeah, that was my experience, and I'm sharing it in its entirety.
That was great. So, and Mountain Mike was flying it when the motor went, wasn't he?
Thank goodness. Yeah, for sure.
And he didn't freak out at all. He just he didn't even flirt with trying to get it back around. He's just like, once he realized what happened, he just like let it follow its line, flew the glide down. And luckily that drama with the car was crazy, but he landed it awesome.
Yeah, no, he's good under pressure for sure. I think me being there like freaks him out because I'm like, oh no, what happened? The hysteria next to him of like, freaking out. Yeah, that was on me. But yeah, our flying field just is it's an old airport, so it used to be used for full-size aircraft, and it's used for like PG&E trucks. Like if there's a disaster, like the Santa Cruz fires happened last year, so all the trucks staged there. So it's just like pothole galore. There's grass, but it's like potholed grass. Everyone's like, why don't you land in the grass? It's not really landable grass, but you know, it's a nice open space. They're thinking of developing it, but hopefully not, because it's 5 minutes away from where I live, and it's so convenient. So
that is super nice. And you're in California, for those that don't know, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Santa Cruz.
Yeah. I luckily we get to fly pretty much year round. I mean, there's, you know, storms and stuff, but we don't get any crazy snow so yeah, it's been.
You were so nice too, because you felt guilty in the intro. I think it might have been
during the Texas freeze. Yeah.
Yeah, you were so nice.
We had like 75 degrees. It was like
you
summer.
felt bad, and you even said like something about it. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people commenting like, "Oh, we're buried in snow here," and so yeah, luckily we get to fly year round, which is nice.
Hey, Trail Run RC's in here. Good to see you. His Instagram is lit too. I have not seen your Rock Hobby Willies yet, but I can't wait. That's so cool. So
the ocean wind. Someone asked about the ocean wind flying.
About the what?
Ocean wind, and like slope soaring is popular out here too. Which is actually, that might be my next thing that I try. Is the slope soaring stuff. There's a spot up the coast with some cliffs.
Is the water calm enough close to you to consider any water planes?
There's a reservoir, so I have floats. Haven't done that. That might be a next thing too. Float fly. Been wanting to do that. I have a couple planes with floats. So yeah, for sure. I tried it when we went to Tahoe last year. And it handles differently with floats on it. I took the Valiant. I had floats on that, and it was beautiful, calm, like glassy Lake Tahoe. Yeah. And I should have. I couldn't quite handle differently, and I was a little bit nervous. And it was freezing cold water. We didn't have any way to retrieve it if we needed to. Yeah. So, yeah, it didn't happen. But
that's always scary. Every time I've done water, I've never had a way to go get it. If I stub the toe, I always say stub the toe with those floats, because if you don't get it right, it's gonna dig, and then it's upset. I think actually for water flying, some of the best stuff to start with is something that doesn't have floats at all, but like a keel. So if you look at the Sea Wind,
check that out.
Yeah, actually BitGo has a Sea Wind that's, I think, 50-inch wingspan, like 3S, and it sounds like that shouldn't be enough, but that plane is actually really awesome.
Sweet.
I think you can probably get one if you want to try it.
Cool. So, yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll get together on that. But yeah, as soon as you're ready to fly something else, we'd all love to see it.
Okay. Yeah, that could make for some good content, retrieving a plane in the middle of a body of water.
Yeah.
We did buy a little inflatable dinghy, so yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, now I'm inspired. I'll have to do that future video.
It's neat. And if you ever had snow, those things are great for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So, so a little bit back to first airplanes. You know, I'm always curious at what gets people, even if it's vicariously, if the answer has to be somehow Mountain Mike, it's still a good one, right? I just always interested to see what drives people to the hobby in the first place. And my point of reference is really largely based in aviation. Cool. Yeah, I'm. Do you dig on full-scale airplanes, or is it just another facet of RC? It's like, let's check this out. These look cool. Sometimes there's a family member that served or had some time with in an aviation kind of way, what was the? I know Mike had the flight test plane.
Yeah. Yeah, he was big into it. And I mostly watched him, and I just thought it was not in the cards. No, I didn't think I could I didn't think I would have the skills to learn it. It's just, looking at the transmitter with all the switches and knobs, I'm like, it seemed very unapproachable, I think, for a beginner. It's hard to know where to start. So I think definitely seeing him do it and being super good at it, and then having the opportunity with Horizon to try out some of their beginner models, I was sort of like, okay, now I have this plane, now I have to learn. So it sort of forced me in a good way to learn it and take people along that journey. So
yeah, I think
I did it, I'm like, if I can do it, like, seriously, you can learn how to fly too.
I think that's so cool, and sharing that is something special, because I mean, when we go to the vendors, the companies who sell this stuff, we go look at their channels and things. They're putting great content together, but you always know it's gonna be perfect. You know what I mean? What you see is gonna be just perfect, and that's great. But I tell you, people really respond to the real deal, and so many people are in different steps along the way to learning how to do it. And you really never quit learning. Anybody who thinks they're done learning this stuff, it has ripped themselves off, because there's always more to learn. I mean, I remember thinking I was pretty okay a while back, and I was not pretty okay. I just thought I was, because I had a plane that was really awesome, that made me look good. You know what I mean? It wasn't me at all. Had a lot to learn, and when you do videos like this, you get these chances to do things that maybe you weren't necessarily looking at, but they stretch you a little bit and take you out of your comfort zone. And then, of course, if you're working with sponsors, they don't just send it if you don't put out the video, and I think what's cool about this space, at least from what I have taken, I've never had anybody send me a plane, and be worried about what I put out. They all seem to be confident enough in their product that the truth is good enough. You don't get any pressure either to deliver some kind of crazy, highly polished, absolutely perfect experience either. And I think that's a neat spot to be, where we're able to be ourselves that way. I almost didn't I just did the Ultra Micro A10. In my outro, I used for B-roll a crash. That was totally my fault, and it was high speed, and I really dug it in pretty hard on that A10. And it was fast, even though I had it slow mode. So it went in really hard. And the best part of that is they've re-engineered that plane to be a lot more sturdy. And so the only thing that broke was the very nose, just the very small little nose in front of the battery. Yeah. And that plane used to break if you looked at it. So I was worried about that one a little bit. So I did send that one off early. I was like, this is okay, right? I mean, because you do want to, you do want to please these folks, but they've always been really cool, and being able to take the blame when things screw up. I mean, if the first thing you blame is electronics every time, and everybody watching knows it's just you who screwed up, like, that's not a good way to build integrity and authority. So you got to take the blame. Like, I call myself out all the time. With that particular A10, I just was in such a hurry, I didn't even look at the verticals. And so it had this tremendous yaw to the left when it was turning. But it didn't really display itself until you were going really, really fast. Well, I had just done a right turn, which was almost climbing, because the opposite way. And then in the left turn, full speed, it just kind of spun itself in. It just dug in, and it's completely my fault in the way of setup. And I said so. So, not coming out with a brand new product and like this thing stinks, it's wrecking. Like it will wreck if you don't set it up.
Yeah.
And they trust us to put it out that way, and I think that's
Part of the hobby.
It is part of the hobby. It's a great hobby for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's with products and reviews. I think that's one thing that I'm trying to maintain integrity. As I'm not an expert by any means, so I'm not like, oh, I'm going to review this product and be the expert. They're the developers, they're the engineers of these products. They're the experts, and I'm trying to figure it out and be honest and share. If a servo blew right out of the bat, like that's pretty common with surface RC. Like steering servos are notoriously failing. You got to be honest about it, but also represent the product in a way that's going to make the company, happy with how you're portraying their product. So it's a fine balance. But I think being honest is sort of the best policy. And if there's something that's terrible, I won't put it on my channel at all. I'll provide some feedback one-on-one to the company. So anything that makes it on my channel, I'm satisfied with people purchasing it for sure.
That's awesome. That's really good. Everybody's at a different level. And as far as my crawler game goes, it's I'm Baby Yoda, if anything, right? Like just not done a whole lot of it. So we've got the same thing happening opposite, right? You're like
getting into
your
planes,
feet, getting into the airplanes, and then I'm just now dabbling with the crawlers a little bit, and the more you do it, the more you realize that some of that nuance really matters, and you see why people do some of the upgrades they do. Mm-hmm. And driven enough of them now to really appreciate a nice smooth throttle response versus one that just jumps on you, especially if you're trying to make video. You'll have this vibe going, maybe like I like to kind of, it's a completely different approach for me on the crawlers when I'm doing a video than when I do airplanes. I'm just chilling. But, and I kind of it's like when I make a crawler video, I'm like, in my mind, there's a campfire, the coffee is black, it's steaming. There's some like real good granola over here. And I'm probably going to go fishing maybe too. I don't know. But it's
like, you're out on the trail. It's like
it's just chill. And so you've got this music. It's really nice. This thing's just getting along. And then it jumps 2 feet. Like that drives me absolutely bonkers. If you're trying to make a video, that's not a good look. And, I feel like when I watch your crawler stuff, I'm like, I've told everybody, like, you want to tweak on your crawlers, watch Haley. Because some people just tell you what they're doing, and then others really show you very well how to do it, where you feel like you could pause the video and get yours done too. Yeah. And so it looks like we'll kind of pivot a little bit to that, if that's all right.
Yeah,
to
go for it.
Crawler side of things. You've definitely got vendors, companies' attention on that side. It looks like you're getting upgrades and things all the time. So they must love the way you deliver that.
I guess. I don't, my house is turning into, I'm running out of space for the RCs in my house, but no, it's definitely fun. People don't understand like how much tunability there is with the RC crawler. You think like, oh, you just press the throttle and turn the wheel, but you can adjust the drag brake, the braking strength. Like you can tune the motor timing. There's just a lot that you can do that I think when you're just getting into RC crawling, you're like, oh, it's boring. What's interesting about that coming from RC planes, which, there's a lot of fine tuning to flying those things.
It all counts for sure.
Yeah, the rock crawlers is definitely I'll show you which one this little guy here. This is the 1/18th scale Patriot, which people have been asking, oh, can you review some things that aren't quite as expensive? Because, some people don't have the budget to throw down $500 for an RC crawl, RC tour or whatever. So I'm trying to sort of spread what I'm reviewing. And so that one's a little sort of your desktop crawler, I guess I'm calling it.
Yeah.
The micro crawlers are sort of picking up right now. So yeah, that one's a little fun guy.
There's so much add-ons. I've seen them for some of these small ones. And yeah, you're right. Thinking about price point, like if you look at some of your other rigs, you've got some big money in them. They were already a good, coming in at like $550 for something like a TRX4 or a Axial SCX10 3, and then going next level on it. All of a sudden,
metal axles, portal weights, yeah. People ask when I'm out there driving, I'm like, how much do these cost? They think I'm sort of embarrassed to tell them how much these things cost. And people have bought, like, I've seen like posts where they think that they're buying like a real, full scale bumper, and it's just an RC bumper, and the cost is very similar in what you're, so yeah, it's definitely a pricey hobby. You can do it cheaply though, like you don't have to go all in. It's just
so here's a question that's loaded completely. So best 1/10 scale crawler at a value price position that's fully upgradable should you desire. Can you think of one?
I mean, honestly, the one that I just did, you can't see it's in the background in the dark, but the Gen 8 Red Cat Racing, I recommend, before I even had a Red Cat, I would recommend that to people as a good hobby grade, good value RC. And so I'm glad that I got to try one, because now I can actually say, hey, this is a good RC. But yeah, definitely it's a competitor. It's going to be a couple $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
But has all the same bells and whistles as, a TRX4 SCX10 3.
What I like about it is I've been dialing one in too. And there's actually probably I'm going to click the links that you provided in your video review on it, because there's some of that stuff I want to get to. But
gotta get a winch.
Gotta get a winch. Yeah. The best, knowing how smooth feels, just driving the Axial SCX10 3, and I already had a Gen 8 before the purple and green ones came out, the V2s. And I got the purple one, and if somebody's going to do one, and some guys just like to tinker, so you could buy an Axial X10 3 or a TRX4, and it's going to be, you could do nothing to it, and it's going to be pretty great for a long time. But if you kind of do like tweaking with stuff and messing with it, for me, I think the best first upgrade to do to those Gen 8s is probably the best first thing you think to do. And I think you do this to some of your rigs too. So get rid of the radio. Put in the Firma 40 amp ESC receiver. Run it on one of your very affordable multi-model radio like DX5C or Rugged or something like that. All of a sudden, I got Expo, I got travel adjustment, I got all kinds of stuff I can do.
Endpoint adjustments for your servos,
all of that. And then you got those auxiliary channels for things like winches and stuff.
Like your light kit. Yeah, if you want to control, I think the one it came with was like a 3-channel. Maybe, no, I think it might even be 2, because the transmitter was a 2-channel, but the radio or the receiver was a 3-channel. So yeah, if you want to control anything remotely, like a remote controlled winch or a light kit that has remote on and off switch, and like you're saying, all the tunability with your motor, and all your servo, like exactly what you said, I'm reiterating. Yeah, definitely a transmitter. The only thing is, receivers can get pricey, but then you have one transmitter instead of having like all the transmitters and figuring out which one is for what rig. One transmitter control all your rigs.
Yeah, last year I went nuts, and then I got Bobby into Surface, and we could decorate a few Christmas trees with ready to run receivers and radios. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely. We should make them a part of some kind of ready to run remote control graveyard for like a crawler course or something. But I got to tell you my story, and I think I might have before on, because I know some of these guys are listening. They're like crawlers. That we fly planes. It's kind of, you get your adrenaline going. It's scary. We all talk about the pucker factor. Where nerves. It's awesome. It's almost aggro no matter what, even if it's a kind of easygoing plane. And then bashers are kind of aggro, and then the crawler is just so chill. There's a lot of my guys who may not get why it is so enjoyable. I'm going to tell you why I think it is, and how I accidentally got started into liking these crawlers so much. So having relationships with companies, FMS being one of them, the Rock Hobby Willie's Jeep was coming out. This thing is 1941. It's super scale. They're boasting that this thing's a crawler. I'm like, man, it's so scale. I don't even know if it can. The tires are completely different.
Super thin.
Yeah, completely different. I don't know if this thing. I'm getting one because they're going to send me one, and I'm going to do a video on it. And I want to actually kind of know what I'm talking about a little bit. Let me offer some context. So while I'm waiting, and I even reached out to you and some others at that point, because I was gonna. It never worked out, but I had a handful of you surface folks that I wanted to get hooked up with that Jeep for FMS's behalf, and also trying to make friends on the surface side. I've done a bunch of bashers now, and I'm trying to grow that way a little bit. Airplanes are my thing, jets are my thing, but I will always dabble in surface from till the end of time at this point. But
sweet.
So while I'm waiting on the Jeep, I want to deliver a video that's not just complete baloney. And so I go shopping for crawlers. I find for me the best value to be, I wanted to be 1/10 scale. And I land on the SCX-10-2 deadbolt. $299, go triple time. That's a good value. It's available from a company I work with already. I may or may not have a discount. Who knows? Can't remember at the time. And so I got that. I wanted to get a dedicated crawler, and that's solid axle, no portals, just, really basic. But everyone loved it. When you go watching videos and start digging in online with those products, you could see that it had quite a reputation. People loved it. People would make it whatever they wanted it to be. They upgrade it. There's a lot of tunability, a lot of upgrade potential, or it's just fantastic out of the box. Here you go. First dedicated crawler is the Axial SCX-10-2. For context.
That's a good one.
And I loved it. I filmed my first day with it. I put out that video's out, and it's just chill music, black coffee smoking on a log. We're chilling. We're out in the trail.
Kumbaya going.
Kumbaya. I got on some flannel, some Patagonia. Let's do this. So I was super surprised at how much fun I had in my yard on a wood pile with this thing. I couldn't believe it. So by accident, just trying to have some context for this Jeep, I'll never get rid of that deadbolt, actually. It's my kid's now, but he can drive whatever he wants. Actually, I'll let him drive my Red Cat now because I got the throttle realistic.
Tuned down, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, that was so fast that you could break it, start or stop too quick, you might have a bad day. But yeah, so neat. And then so a little bit of experience with Axial 10-2. And then in the comments section, guys are beating you up like you went too fast or, whatever. You know how it is. Armchair advice. We got a lot of armchair engineers on the airplane side, and they're everywhere. But, you learn from those comments, right? And then so we took out, when I took out the video, when I did the video on the Jeep, I also did it with the deadbolt as well. So like head to head, going over the same terrain? Can this, Rock Hobby Jeep do what a dedicated crawler can? And surprisingly, it could. I was really over the moon at how that Jeep performed, and I was completely surprised that it can keep up in its performance with what a dedicated crawler can do.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I think you still should try one of those sometime.
I will, yeah. So that's the first Jeep model that ever came out in full scale, right? Well, that was sort of the history behind. That was like the first Jeep ever.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be one of, if not the first, because I mean, it's World War II, 1941 Willys. They shipped those things over there in a box. I mean, these guys put them together in the, where they showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So, Air Marshal's working it hard on the moderator tip. Thank you so much. Sometimes I'm definitely going to miss things tonight, guys.
Yeah, I'm trying to track and respond to some comments. It's hard to multitask.
Yeah, so
we'll
take a breath a little bit. I know I feel obligated to not allow dead air, but I'll let some show up so we can catch a breath. And yeah, if you guys have some questions for Haley, did you end up getting any questions on your Instagram posts, your stories, or anything? Can you tag me or what?
Yeah, someone asked if I'm going to Axial Fest this year because I went in 2019.
So, okay, cool. Are you going to Axial Fest this year?
Oh my God. I don't know. I would love to if everything's all, peachy and COVID's, hopefully over soonish. So I might. It's pretty close to me, so hopefully I can make it. But that spurred a question in me is, what are your go-to RC events?
Yeah, let's get into that. Don't let me forget. I got a question being highlighted by Air Marshal, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Robert Petrenchik or Blosh, good to see you in here. Thanks for coming by the way. Everybody, if I've missed you, we'll get back into the old method here in a little while. But Nick Marte, how do you find airfields to fly? I'm from Pennsylvania, and what are the rules? So Google's going to be tremendously helpful, but I would recommend get with the AMA, the Academy of Model Aeronautics. If you go to pilotridemedia.com, there's actually a logo for the Academy of Model Aeronautics along with all the other brands that I work with. And you can click through there to get to their website. That's how you get a membership. If you want to join a club, any club, most clubs in the States are going to require you to be a member of the Academy of Model Aeronautics. That gets you some insurance. That gets you basic knowledge of those rules you're talking about. And they can also put you in contact with clubs that are close to you so you can, go fly with other guys at a safe, dedicated location. So, yeah, if you click through my website, you can get to the AMA. You can sign up for a membership. You can check out what they're all about. But that's definitely one angle I would say. I would say keep following people who are doing this online too, and just soak up all you can, and spend some time on simulator. What would you say, Haley, to somebody who's just wanting to get into flying and wants to know where to spend their first $500?
Into flying, like from the beginning?
Yes.
Where I spent my first is, I think, getting a nice transmitter. So if you're wanting to stay in the hobby, get something that you can program multiple models in, similar like we were talking about with the surface side. Definitely invest in a simulator. I have Real Flight. I think they're on 9.5 right now. So spend a lot of time on the simulator. Fly different types of models. Just like, I think, learn how to fly what everything does. And then buy Mini Apprentice, regular Apprentice, Sport Cub. There's even the UMX Timber. I think there's a lot of good models out there for learning how to fly.
The simulator is so great because you just can respawn that $200 instantly without it really costing you $200.
For sure. Yeah, it's been fun flying in the multiplayer too. So it's sort of like this where you can like chat with people, also fly with people live, real time. So
that actually reminds me, and you should come fly with the guys. So RC Air Marshal once a month hosts a virtual fly-in, and he does it like this, stream style.
Sweet.
So it's multiplayer, just like you're already familiar with, but also a show. So, and he'll have challenges and things. I mean, it's quite a thing. Air Marshal does a good job, and those virtual fly-ins are really, really something. So you got to come check us out there.
Sweet.
Let's see. Dustin Gable wants to know, RC Girl, what Warbird would you suggest for a first one? He says he does have flying experience already.
Yeah, I would say the one that's sitting behind both Pilot Ryan and me, T-28. I mean, coming from the Corsair, super tiny, I think go with something that's a little bit bigger, bigger wingspan. And then you can actually dead stick fly this one, so it glides. We had a motor failure on one of our flights in my flight video, and it glided to the ground. So definitely a good first one. Honestly, I don't have tons of experience, so maybe you have more with other models. That would be good too.
I think that's the best way for me to answer these questions is I do always want to know where they're at. So if the person's not flown any Warbirds, but they've flown some advanced sport models or kind of civilian general aviation types of planes, I can kind of figure out where to steer them. So there was a guy at the field tonight who was flying some airplanes that if he were to fly this Trojan we've got here, it would be taking a step back for where he was. So there are so many T-28s at this point. So for him, the next step wouldn't be this T-28, but like let's say the 1.2 T-28 or the 1.4 meter T-28. That's all horizon stuff. So the FMS is the 1.4 meter. That's a 55-inch wingspan, and then you got the 1.2 that's E-flight, and it's 48 inches. So 3S power or 4S power, but tricycle gear is always easier than tail draggers. So almost any time you say T-28, it's a right answer. It's a right answer. Let's talk a little bit about some of your. So obviously this is your hobby, but do you have a hobby next to this? I know you're doing stuff on Etsy. And you get to play with some of your. I actually might want you to design me something, but I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, for sure.
But your stickers look awesome.
Sweet. And, I made some Gone Flying stickers.
And your Gone Flying stickers, your crawler stickers. Where can folks check those out?
On my Etsy shop. It's etsy.com/shop/RCGirl. I could put it in the chat as well. So
it's
just
the link to all the stuff that she's talking about, guys, I have in this video description as well. If you're listening to this later and you're nowhere near anything, just remember if you go to rcgirl.com, isn't that how your website URL goes?
The rcgirl.com, yep.
Yeah, you're going to be able to, if you go to her YouTube channel and you go to the homepage, the banner art's going to have down at the bottom right of the banner art, you're going to be able to get to her Etsy, her Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and then is the website there available as well?
I think so. Yeah, it should be.
Cool. So go get you some RC Girl stickers on Etsy, dudes, and you get a Teespring store. John Graham wants to know if you're going to the Pilot Ryan fly-in in Florida.
I would love to. What are the dates?
The dates are, I'm going to be super proud of myself when I remember, May 12th through the 16th. There's a link in the description to the event. People are signing up already. It's going to be a big deal. A lot of folks are coming. A lot of people who know each other from these chats, these streams, from YouTube, viewers, fans, other channels are going to be there. We got a lot of sponsors on board. I'm super honored by these folks at Imperial RC to invite me to do this. And I've been telling everybody this show is nothing without you all showing up. So just let me be the ambassador to bring it together. And yeah, I mean, knowing you're in California, I'm not going to be surprised if you're like, yeah, let me give you a maybe right now. But you're definitely invited to come. And there's a couple piles of sand off site right there out of the way that I'm going to either bash on or crawl on while I'm there. But so let's see. Tug Hill, one of the members of my channel, wants to know, how do you like the NX6?
How do I like the NX6? I like the NX6. So full disclosure, I did have an issue with one of the first models that they sent out to me. And I actually looked at the reviews on Horizon's website, and I think there were some challenges with one of the initial runs of the NX6, but got a second one and perfect. There's a lot more customization you can do to it with, all the colors and all that stuff. I think you can also use it to do long range flying too. Yeah, so very, very, if you have a DX6, it's very similar. All this, there's a few updated things, like they have, you can bring in model templates, for example.
Yeah.
They might have done that. You can also maybe do that in the DX6 if you update it. So it's, I think it's just a modernized version. You can download a lot of the stuff via Wi-Fi now, so you don't have to plug in, SD card. So
I got to, they sent an NX6 over here, and I was using it until I got the NX10, and then I gave it to one of the young guys in the chat. But I like it. I like the NX stuff. And my DX stuff was awesome, but I love the bind and flies with the AS3X and the safe technology, but I just refuse to learn how to do it on my own until the NX series comes, because it's so easy to get into forward programming. You can deal with these things without having to have a program cable or worry about if you're Android or iOS. And for me, simplicity is what's happening.
Yeah.
So I really dig the NX stuff. I didn't have a problem with my NX6, but just like Horizon always behaves, if you have a problem with their stuff, whether or not you're an influencer or a customer, they will take care of you.
Yeah.
Trail Run RC has a question for you, and I hope I didn't just cut you off on the NX6.
Oh, guys, one last thing on the NX6 is that the telemetry stuff is super nice. If you have the G2 batteries and all your battery voltage, like I had the ticker on the bottom when I had the T28, and you can land exactly when you need to land, not relying on your timer. So that, to me, that was definitely, That's
one of my favorite things about these planes and having their equipment, because they hook us up with the batteries, the chargers, the radios, the planes. I'm so spoiled. I love being able to just scroll over and see what is going on with that telemetry. Even the stuff that's just there before you say you want it. I mean, I really don't do a lot of setups. I'm very simple. I just want the battery voltage. You know what I mean? I like the cell readings. I like to know where I'm at, because so does everyone else. And I always try to tell people how long the flight was, or where the battery sits, and being able to stay on my feet and not get down with the plane and just scroll over and there it is super trick. So I love that. Trail Run RC wants to know, have you ever tried to install the RC four-wheel drive leaf springs under the axles any of your rigs to lower CG?
Under the axles, that's interesting. No, the only rig that I've ever done leaf springs is on my SEX 10-2, which that build has evolved through time. So no, I'll have to take a look at how they're currently situated, which I think they actually discontinued the leaf spring kit, unfortunately, for the SEX 10-2. But
can I ask you something too?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been asking you stuff all night. uh, the okay, first before I forget, Brian Brissett wants to know if you have any plans to do like a big X Max.
There was an X Max, so when we were doing the T28 video, we also brought one of my monster trucks and went to there was, for some reason, a ton of RC cars at the same time. So we went to the pump track and there were like 6 RC cars on it, and one person had an X Max, and that thing, like, we thought we had like this crazy 4S monster truck, and that thing like blew it out of the water. So I don't.
That's hilarious.
It seems like an expensive investment. But are they cool as heck? Of course. So I don't know.
They are.
I'm not sure if it's in my future, but
the big Armas are really nice also. But the X Max is, it's a lot lighter than the big Arma stuff. But I love my big Arma stuff. I have the big 8S Outcast, that low C Super Baja Ray. These are both 8S, and that X Max is 8S. What basher? They are crazy. And you should check out my RC truck playlist if you want to see a guy send it. For a guy who doesn't do surface, I'm sending it.
Yeah, you probably send it more than I do.
I was sending them. Not too bad. But what basher did you have out there?
It's the Pro MT 4x4 monster truck, which is also discontinued, unfortunately, for alignments where they made it. I think they still make the short course truck version, but the monster truck is discontinued. So, but I think they have some cool stuff coming out soonish. They merged with Horizon so.
That's so cool. So you did all your own vinyl on your Gen 8. Are you for hire, or is that just like for you?
I don't know. I've sold a couple of them. The vinyl that I did, I've been, I made a couple extra, and people have been asking about it. So I don't know. I don't want to be a full-time, vinyl printer, because it can get time consuming, and, sticker maker, but if you have some ideas, I'd be happy to help you mock something up and send it to you.
So I am curious too, to follow up with the Etsy thing, and guys, stickers are usually really cheap, a great way to support somebody. Are those stickers like really small size so they look good on the back of your crawler, or are they just like legit like stickers?
They're like legit stickers. So let me see if I have some other ones here. I don't know if you even have them now next to me, but the Gone Flyed ones are like a couple inches.
There you go. Yeah, I love
your transmitter car or your transmitter case and stuff.
I love the yellow and white. I think it's a Ford Bronco.
Let me see if I can find them. I don't know where they went.
So when you sell those on Etsy, do you just you ship them out yourself then?
Yeah, it's just me. I mean, I hand make these myself. I'm learning to there's the the RC Life
That's
ones.
Sick.
Trying to find.
So you're making those stickers yourself?
Yeah, slaving away. Like this morning, I got a couple orders, and I'm like, all right, get up first thing in the morning, and I print them out. Put all the laminating sheets over them, put them through the cutter, and then cut them out, and then write people a nice thank you note and ship them out. So yeah, definitely labor of love. But
keep that question up for Fred Barron, Dave. I'll get to it in a minute. I see what you're doing, Dave. I appreciate that. So you have the Teespring store for merch, and so you've obviously looked at how it goes when you do stickers there. They're like ridiculously expensive, right? Is that one reason why you decided to do it on your own, like Etsy?
I just thought that I could make more types of designs, and it's usually when you order them, it takes like a couple week turnaround. So I wanted to do like one for each video, like if related to that video. So like the Gone Flying one, I had a little Warbird. The Gen 8, I did some Jeeps and stuff. So I'm trying to just more on the fly, like customize my own stickers and push them out more quickly.
So I see on some of these really nice crawlers, those little tiny stickers.
Oh yeah, I love those too.
How can you do those?
So those ones are printed on clear, so you don't want to have like the white. I mean, some of them have the white background, but like you want it to look like it's a decal. So those, yeah, those are tough. People ask me where I get, because I have a lot of those, and they're all honestly just collected from different builds or different, like you buy a winch and you get some RC four-wheel drive ones. They're all bought from all around, or kind of sort of consolidated from a bunch of different companies. But there are companies that make like sticker sheets with like logos and stuff. But yeah,
you guys got to check this out if you're into this surface stuff at all, where you want to trick out your rides. That how-to stuff is really what's up. I think I saw you putting like, I did on the Gen 8, you put some of that tint, that window tint in the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that almost solves the problem of the interior or the lack of one. I love the clear windows, but then you see all the workings. I actually got a tub in mine now. I got an interior. Yeah.
Nice.
Just black. It's like a Pro Line. I gotta show you. Have you seen it?
I want to see it. I think I saw a photo of it, or you were talking about getting an interior. That's cool. How did you get? Oh, you can't hear me yet.
Now I can.
How did you get the blue color?
Oh, that one back there is nuts. I'll show you the paint on that one in a minute. That's Bobby's. He's got a guy that paints BMWs, like real ones. So like the only guy around here that can do paint on a Beamer. So the dude's got some next level equipment and skill.
Did you paint the interior or the exterior?
No, he did the exterior. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. This one's just the stock purple, but I've got the
it looks blue for me.
Seats and stuff.
Sweet.
In there, and you see a truck bed all corrugated and all.
Nice.
And me and Air Marshal are nerding out on these. So like we found, what was the name of that website, Dave, where we're just looking for like a $5 deal, and I think $100 free shipping later. We got a whole lot of stuff coming. Club 5 Racing. We got roof racks. You know them, Haley?
No, but I want to check them out. Oh, great. Thanks, guys.
Tell them I sent you. I'm just kidding. So Fred Barron has a question, and I want to ask it. It's about quads. Have you looked at that new DJI FPV kind of racer hybrid deal? Mm-hmm. Chase quad? I love it. I want one. What about you?
Yeah. So DJI is definitely like sort of on the forefront of technology, but I would say that the guys that fly the quads and the racing quads, it's sort of outside of that realm. So I think someone that's going to buy the DJI one is more someone that's not looking to get into the build from scratch. So I think it makes it more accessible for people. But it's sort of, there was a video I watched. I've watched a lot of videos on it because I want to stay up to date on the latest. A guy this morning, and he did a long range. He went to this island, and so he flew. He's sort of like trying to test out whether they're long range, how far that is or whatever. So he flew to an island. Like if it goes down, you're kind of screwed. So I mean, it's pretty cool. Like the places that it allows you to go. And the video feed is really nice too. I was thinking that it might be nice for doing like the B-roll for the flights, because the Mavic Mini is super slow, so it can't keep up really with some of the faster models. So I don't know if you're looking to get into FPV racing, it's probably not the best route. But it will maybe, and it's expensive. I think it's over $1,000. So it's like, a lot of money to throw down for something that you're like, whoa, will I like this?
You do get it all with it, I think, though.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah, definitely for me, I'm not worried about racing quads, but knowing, I almost ended up with a Mavic, but yeah, it's not fast enough for what I wanted it for. But the beauty of this new, I call it hybrid, because it really isn't a racer, but it's kind of gonna give you that vibe.
Fast. Like 80 miles an hour or something.
Right. And intuitive, like a Mavic though, feels good. and you can apparently control how it's set up, like with these different modes, to get a different kind of vibe out of it. One of the greatest videos I've seen so far on that, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it was the flight test video where they brought TJ back. TJ was there, really knows racing quads a lot. So they brought him back. He used to work at Flight Test, and now he does OMP Hobby and Buddy RC, a good friend and one of my affiliates. So they brought him back, and they did a great video showing that thing and all of its modes. The guys at Flight Test, as you know, put out a solid product for as far as video. And if anybody wants to know what that drone is all about, I think that's one good place to start, because they run it through the paces and they show you what the difference is. And TJ is such a race quad guy that he's really got a tremendous knowledge of what it is, what it's doing, what it's compared to, and what they were probably trying to achieve with it. I want one. Yeah,
they're pushing that out. I've seen a lot of video. Like, there's a lot of people that have them. So it looks like, I don't know. I'll take a look at it more for sure.
I definitely want to look at the. I know. I did Peter McKinnon get one too? If not him, I know like another one of those. So sometimes I watch the photographer guys too.
Oh yeah, Potato Jet. I think he got one.
He probably got one.
Justine, I think she did a video on it too.
She's great. Yeah.
She's not like a FPV flyer, so I think that's another.
Oh yeah, these are just tech folks or camera folks.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat to see those what they do with it as well. Paul McNeil wants to know if Santa Cruz has a hobby shop.
Big no. We used to have a small one, but they would only sort of carry a few things here and there, and then they had like kites and stuff, and they closed down. And then I think there's a hobby town in San Jose just over the hill, and JJ Customs, he was sort of my go-to RC surface crawler shop, and he's sort of in between shops now. So if you guys can support your local hobby shops, because it's so nice to just be able to go in and chat with people about the products versus just buying something online. It's dying breed, I think, but
it is. That's the one thing I was on purpose trying to provide through video too, when I would do unboxings and builds when I was for 5 years at another place, because it is an online retail place only. Motion, they don't have any, and none of those products are in bricks and mortar at all. So the planes weren't hard to build, but I would do builds on them and unboxings just because I wanted to emulate what it would be like to go into a shop and have someone you knew behind the counter show you one, you know, or put it together right in front of you. Definitely support your local hobby shops when you can, and when you can't, go local favorite person in your pocket. You know what I mean? They're all over the place.
Sure. There was one Aero Micro in San Jose, and I think they went to like part-time during the week, and then that was actually where I bought my first timber at a local hobby shop. So
Mountain Mike says your house is going to be a shop soon.
Oh, I know. We need a bigger garage. All the planes are in his office. And I have like a lot of the RC cars in my office, but.
Does Mountain Mike have game on social like you?
He does at MTN MYKE. He does more like nature shots and mountain biking stuff.
Awesome.
And we also started a honeybee and honey Instagram. So he raises a bunch of bees, and I do a lot of the honey stuff. So my honey's honey, if anyone's interested.
No, actually, we do crazy stuff here. So, like, legit, you guys sell honey?
Yeah, honey, but he mostly like sells bees to people, local hobbyists and stuff.
That's fantastic, because it's actually really important, and it's
for sure.
They need all help they can get, I think, right now, which is crazy to say because you'd think this stuff is always gonna live forever, but they're like really, really, really important. So anybody doing good stuff,
agriculture, for sure.
Like life, And that actually reminds me of something I was going to talk about earlier. And I think I'm getting to the point where we're going to kind of wind it down. But this has been awesome having you. And I just was looking forward to it a lot. And, we talked the other day, and I like to have you as a friend, man. This is great.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, for sure. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and spending your time with us.
So just to put back into perspective, the honey not being weird, like I'm affiliated with these organic beef sticks.
Oh, crazy.
Nick sticks, like my family eats them all the time, and so we buy them all the time, and then my wife got the email for, like, they were reaching out for affiliates or whatever. So I'm like, what the heck? And so I hooked up with them, and I have them. They're a brand on my website as well.
Oh, cool. That's
And whenever
awesome.
they send out promotions, I put them on blast. Like, why not?
That's awesome.
And people are buying organic beef sticks, so I think that's cool. But I'm totally down for some real honey. I grew up with real honeycomb in a bowl on the table next to the butter, like half melted.
Oh, cool.
Very hillbilly. Wonderful. I wouldn't trade it for a thing. I mean, the wax and all. Like, I like the wax, the crispy honey.
The comb honey, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
with like the wax still in it. Yep.
Oh, love it. It's talk about nectar of the gods. This stuff
All right.
is a gift.
I'll send you a little a jar, like a little honey bear of honey.
I want it. I'm so pumped about that, actually. Yeah, so not random at all. So yeah, guys, Mountain Mike, find him too on Instagram. Somebody give him a wrench, man. Let him drop his handle, his Instagram or something in the chat, Dave. Good things. All right. So our see you later. How and when are you going to copyright that? Because it's brilliant.
That was a Mountain Mike thing too. And actually, like, he has a lot of the great ideas, and I just sort of implement them. But like the Gone Flying stickers, he's like, when am I going to get my cut? I made the Gone Flying up. So yeah, big props to him for actually, he was a big part of me starting the channel. And because that's why I don't do a lot of live streams. I'm naturally super, super shy. So it's been actually really great for me to sort of put myself out there. Also with my full-time job, I work at a nonprofit. And so public speaking, I think that's been really helpful for me too. So
you say you work at a nonprofit, and that is, so your background, like your education is marine biology?
Yeah, I do marine biology and work with policymakers and stuff. So totally unrelated to RC, and my coworkers think I'm a little bit crazy, but yeah, it's been cool.
And we really covered so much of what you already had on your website already. Guys, you got to check out our website. It's really, really good. It's laid out really awesome. And if I missed it, there's question and answer already on there. And I don't think I really touched on it a whole lot, but you got it on here on the website. What is it like being in a hobby with mostly men? And then a follow-up, like, why aren't there more women in RC? I think we might as well go there. You know what I mean? What do you think? What's your answer?
I mean, I see it sort of as an opportunity to encourage more women to take up not just RC, but other things that you feel like are mainly male dominated. It's hard to sort of break into that. So I think seeing other women that do what you want to do, or are doing things that are more male dominated, I think it's I see it sort of as an opportunity to encourage more women in picking up. I've seen dads like message me or say, hey, my daughter watches your channel and she started getting into RC. So I think I sort of hopefully use it as a platform to encourage more women in the hobby. And why aren't there more? That I feel like that's a whole nother conversation in itself.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what my original response is, but I mean, I'll have to go check it. What did I say?
You know what? I'd have to look too, but I kind of have I, what I think the answer is, I'll tell. Um, I don't know that it's. I don't think I would hope nobody is preventing a girl who wants to explore it from doing so. My guess, and I don't know a thing, but my guess is just on the real, there may not be as many girls interested in it as guys.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be some of that. There's of course the social, environment thing
Mm-hmm.
as
Social
well.
norms. Yeah.
And even you mentioned it a little bit where, we give girls dolls, we give guys trucks. That's it's not quite as cut and dry, obviously, these days. And I think a lot of folks, like I have kids, and so they play with whatever they want. I got a boy one and I got some girl ones. And we're not like, you can't play with those toys because those are his. And you know what I mean? If he's playing with dolls, I'm not going to tell him not to, but he just doesn't.
Yeah.
And then and and the girls don't necessarily want to do. I mean, he came home with a bag of barbecued flavored like worm, like legit like bugs today to eat. Like the girls aren't eating bugs. But my boy is
Oh,
all about some barbecue, whatever it was, bugs.
yeah.
Uh, I think it's gross, But so, like at my house, we're not saying we got no rules as to what you play with. But my little girls definitely, when we take them shopping and they're picking out presents or, whatever, spending some of their money they've saved, they go for that stuff. And
Yeah.
so there's some of that's just got to be in there, and then I think it's all things, probably a little bit of society, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of conditioning, a little bit of just maybe kind of nature. So
Yeah, for sure. And I think sort of my role is just like showing other girls, other women as to see a role model in that hobby that you can do it, I can do it, and so encouraging more. But yeah, you're into what you're into too, and I think exposing people to it is first
yes,
part. And if they're into it, then great. If not, they have their
and
other
it's
hobbies.
I think it's one of those things where everybody's right. Like I like earlier we were talking about when somebody sees somebody do something, it gives them the courage to do it themselves. So seeing you do this, maybe it wasn't on the little girl's radar because you hadn't seen any other girls do it. And so maybe you just feel like it's not for you, but like seeing you do it and
Mm-hmm.
rock it is like super empowering. Like I love it that my little girls know I'm talking to you tonight. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
cool.
Uh,
Yeah. And I think
yeah,
like someone saying in the comments, like, "Oh, I try to introduce my kids to it," and like handing someone a transmitter and saying, "Hey, fly this or drive this." It's different. I think there's so many facets of RC. Like, you enjoy whether you enjoy the building of a kit, or whether you enjoy painting something, whether you enjoy doing vinyl decals and stickers. Like, there's just so
yeah,
many different types of things that you can, like electronics. Like that is that's a whole nother facet of it too. So I think showing people the gamut and the potential of what you can do in RC versus just saying, here, drive this car, it's not as fun. But so, yeah, that's sort of, if I can expose people to the different parts of the hobby, and maybe there's, maybe people like FPV flying, maybe they
yeah.
like driving, maybe they like, so.
I've got my kids crawling. And it's and I think sometimes when they're little, they're into stuff that I'm totally not into, right? I mean, cartoons, I don't get it, what they're even talking about, whatever. But there's some of it that just misses me completely. And it's the same way with my boy too. But baseball, like, all right, I got you. And
Sweet.
with my daughters, I just love them to death. So I'm just into whatever they're doing. I got one that does horse stuff, and
Oh
and
yeah,
the
I loved
and the other
horses growing
one's
up.
4. So she's just hanging out. Yeah, she's along for the ride for now till she kind of gets something she's into. Right now, she
Hmm.
just wants me to push her on the swing. But the girls will crawl with me, you know what I mean? Because I think it's probably just finding something you can do with people you love that can unite you, no matter what it is going to always be a good thing. So the girls maybe don't even care about it, except that it's like, I can do this and dad likes it. Let's go.
Yep.
You know
go
what
to
I
the
mean?
park, have some fun.
Yeah. Sure. Wood piles right there. We got some, the kids are always goofing with the landscaping and rocks and things. So let's go play in the front yard. And I don't have to go pack up a car full of planes to, and leave my peeps to do it.
For sure.
So, yeah, really good stuff.
One thing super important is I think that Amy Marshall should start flying or driving RC. So
absolutely. I think she's been doing some of that. I know he's pushing. So Amy Marshall, she's got to get up on the sticks, Dave. We all want to see you. And she's flown some stuff, I think, Dave, hasn't she? You don't have to answer me right now, except for William Wainscott wants to know if you've flown from the SCCMAS field in San Jose. And Amy does some real flight stuff.
Oh, cool. What is her, does she have a handle on real flight? Is it just Amy?
Amy, what's your handle when you're doing the real flight? You got to pop in. If we can get RC Girl to show up in the virtual fly-in, you and Amy Marshall can fly formation.
For sure.
Like she's got your wing. Let's do this.
We'll just smoke up the whole runway so no one can see.
You can limit those rooms. I mean, if you don't want to do it on a public, night, that's totally cool too. So I do want to give you, I think we're going to probably say goodbye in a minute, but tell everybody one more time where to find you, where to connect with you, your Instagram, guys. All the links are in the description of the stuff she's going to mention, but I really invite you to follow Haley at the RC Girl socials. Give us a little final. I'm glad to have you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you again, and thanks again for everyone for tuning in. Mostly, YouTube's sort of my first venue, and I'm trying to do 2 videos a month. And then behind the scenes, Instagram and Facebook is sort of where you can find the behind the scenes. As I'm doing a build or as I'm doing a flight or have a new model or something, I'll show a lot of behind the scenes stuff there. So, yep. And then website.
And that, like most of us, is like a great way to know if you don't always have your notifications turned on, or even when you do have them turned on, you don't always actually get them because YouTube is trying to think for you sometimes. So the best way to know when she's posted a new video or when one is about to come is to follow on Instagram, and you have a Facebook page and those kinds of things, because you actually post pretty frequently on those things. I feel like, and YouTube is my main thing too. But in between those, what I kind of consider almost like more official productions, you still want to always engage with the community and let them know what you're up to. And your Instagram's lit. Yeah,
I feel like I post pretty much daily on Instagram. If I get a box in the mail, I'll be like, "What's this?" So I try to bring people along the full journey of getting the unboxing to a finished video. So.
And that works really well when it's time to finally drop those YouTube videos, because you've got everybody primed. They know what's coming. You're at 60-some thousand subs on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's doing
and then
pretty
your
good, yeah.
Instagram is got to be crazy too. Where are you at? Do you know?
I think we're like 27,000. So, but surprisingly more on YouTube than on Instagram.
That's actually, that is kind of crazy, because in a way you would think maybe it'd be higher on Instagram, but that's actually, I think that's a good
I don't know.
That's a good thing though. And then I knew you were over 10K because you got swipe up. on stories, which I think is awesome because they're so stingy with the way links work on Instagram. I mean, what? You got to have one in the bio or forget it unless you have swipe up. So
Yeah, it's
congratulations.
easier to send people to videos in stories. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, or anything.
Hmm.
So I assume you had your Instagram as long as your channel then, or not quite.
Yeah, kind of linked. And that's the thing with social media and YouTube and stuff is like you need to have a place where you can direct people to your content unless you're, usually very rarely are people just on YouTube. You need to like
Yeah.
have the avenues where you can direct people to your stuff.
Any presence on Twitter?
Just for my professional job, day
Yeah.
job. So
I
no.
don't feel like RC does good on Twitter at all. I have
Yeah.
one too, but it's, not a I
Yeah.
don't spend much time there.
Yeah. I haven't spent too much time in the RC community there.
So when are you going to trademark RC you later before somebody takes it?
Oh yeah, I never answered that. I'm good at like not answering a question.
I'm good at not
Yeah,
letting you.
that's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, even the RC girl, because I don't want to, claim the RC girl. There's other RC girls out there, but yeah, I'll have to look into that. Or see you later.
That's so great. I really am glad you came. I got one more question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
So, like, as far as advice goes for somebody who wanted to start a YouTube channel around the hobby, there's a lot of guys that have channels that come in my chat and from all different places on that little YouTube journey too.
Yep.
So like, what advice do you have for somebody who would want to start a YouTube channel around the hobby?
I think having good audio, we were talking about this before the live feed, is just there's a lot of plain videos and you can't hear anyone talking and because all the wind noise. So if you can just get, honestly, filming on your phone, starting there, you don't need a fancy camera. Only recently did I get a nice camera for YouTube. So start with your phone because they're getting really good and have separate audio that you can have a nice and honestly, learning how to YouTube as you go. You don't have to have a super polished video at the outset, but I think, and also not just talking at random and like figure out what people are searching. Do they want to know like what's the best RC plane? What's the best Warbird? Like use this search to kind of figure out how to craft what a video is. So yeah, not just saying, here's this T28 on my bench, but like, is it an unboxing video? Is it a tutorial on how to install, a receiver? A lot of people how-tos, those are so easy. Like, how do you program safe select in this? Like, I search that all the time. So look at what people are searching and what value you can add to the hobby and have good audio. So people can enjoy watching it.
Those are great answers. And on Spectrum, bookmark RC Air Marshal, Haley.
Yeah, I will. The safe stuff for sure.
That's one of the ways. That's one of those indicators that I know right away when somebody I'm watching on YouTube has been doing it a minute or really gets it, because I think it boils down to all those things you mentioned, and then. I mean, you see, I'm not a smart guy, but I can look at what successful people do and then do my best to do it too. And the successful videos on YouTube, no matter what the niche is, they don't waste your time. They tell you what you're going to see. They set an expectation and they keep it paced well.
Yeah.
There's some production, there's some edits, there's not a lot. And look, some people get away without doing any of that, and that's fine. But you really put together a solid product with those videos. And so you just learned that as you went. I mean, no prior video experience.
No,
Is that right?
Not really. Yeah, no prior video experience, just learning from other YouTubers outside of RC, like how you do it well. Watching TED Talks on how to speak well, how to communicate your message to people. Yeah. There's a great channel called, if people are interested in YouTube, Think Media. They talk about how to do YouTube well. So I think, building a brand around yourself,
Yes.
if you're reaching out to companies, being professional about it and treating it sort of like a business, it's fun, but it's like companies want to work with you, and you want to know that they're working with someone that's responsible and going to see through the product and all that. So yeah,
That stuff is absolutely, we have there's so much information available if we are willing to seek it out. And then the way the algorithms work, you search out something once, you're going to get so much stuff related to it then down the line. I totally, I know Think Media. Yeah, I know. I follow that stuff. I watch that stuff. And ironically, after I left a place where I was doing social media and video for 5 years, I decided I would start to learn about it. I was just doing it. I didn't know a thing about it, doing the best I could, and it seemed to be working. Honestly, it's not a whole lot of ones and zero tricks to get an algorithm to put your video out there. What it boils down to is you're working well with people and they like what you're putting out. So if you're making good videos that people are watching, even if you don't know the game at all, like you're already doing 7 out of the 10 things you should be doing. So there's just a little bit of tightening up on some of the crossing T's, dotting I's, but
yeah.
Generally, if it's good stuff, it'll get seen. So relevant topics to, circle back, relevant topics, how-to tutorials, tell them what they're there to see. I want to see more how-tos on the crawler stuff, how people weather them. I want to know how to dirty them up, make them look legit. I want the smears from the windshield wipers. Like, I want everything.
The engine grime. Yeah. There's whole videos on like how to model
rust.
Like, models. Rust. That's a hard one too. Yep.
I saw scale. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, do your research too before you plan a video, and like people want to know about the product, so you got to learn. Every video is sort of a research project for me too. But yeah, scale builder skill. You were talking about him.
Oh yeah, right. I love it. It's just like, one of the doors is going to be a different color, and it's going to look awesome. And there's going to be like a light bulb missing or something.
Oh yeah.
On purpose. And I love it. And it reminds me of a crazy, stupid story about a real truck I'm going to tell real quick, and then we'll keep on. But so I bought a white Ford truck from a bakery, and it was older already. It was pretty bad, but I got it for like $1,000. It was like a Ford F-150 or something, white truck. Used to deliver white bread, Colonial Bakery, Muncie, Indiana. All right. I'm thinking, I had this like weird vision that I'm going to end up with, I don't care, something stupid's going to happen. This hillbilly enough truck, I'm going to end up with a red door. I just know it. All right. So I had this thing for a while. My buddy, we were working on rental properties. Hey, I need your truck, Ramsey. All right. So him and another knucklehead took my truck to Lowe's to pick up some materials. And then when I get with my truck later in the evening to, get it back, one of the doors has been completely just jacked. They backed up like with the door open, and it really just sprung it all. And it was just awful. So I'm like, oh man, here's this red door, I bet, let's just see. So a guy at work had a source like at a junkyard or something like this. And I go, can you get me a door for a Ford, whatever year it was, F-150, whatever. Sure. He says he's got a beige door, and it's like $100, whatever. I'm like, all right, make it happen. Let's do it. And so I'm like, not red, but beige. Like, I knew I was going to end up having a different color door. So I make the arrangement to get this beige door. I give him the money. The guy brings the door to work. He's like, come out to the parking lot to get it. And I go to get the door and put it in my truck so I can have it fixed. And it's red. That son of a gun was red. The beige one he didn't have. It ended up having a red door anyway, just like I had this crazy, stupid premonition it was going to have. Red door. Anyway, way long of a story for a stupid truck. That thing was awful. That thing was so awful. They must have had a gazillion miles on it from delivering white bread. But.
Oh man. Well, when I was doing a weathering video, every truck I would see that had like rust on it, I was taking pictures of like these, beat up, beater trucks and stuff. And so I don't know. I was inspired by a lot of those types of trucks. So
have you done some paint stuff? Like, have you done any like weathering and
I did one recently. I had a hard body that I painted, and then I was like, oh, I want to try weathering. So I was watching a lot of the model tutorials on, they paint up like Gunpla, super nerdy, but these like fighter bots or whatever. I don't know if they're like Japanese fighter bots, and they weather them like they've been in battle and stuff. And so I learned a lot of the tutorials for weathering from those.
I'm into it.
An expert by any means, but
I'm going to show you Bobby's truck real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, and I put a mountain bike in the back of it.
This thing is crazy. This thing is nuts. Look at the top of this.
How did you get that effect? That's cool.
He did it on top. So this was already a painted. He sprayed it. It's like enamel, I think, and it's got all the fleck in it, this shine stuff.
That's it's cool.
It's nuts. Huh? I think Bobby's so into the body he's scared to drive it.
Yeah, you got to beat it up.
What's that?
You got to get it all beat up. It adds to the touch.
20 hours in the paint job, apparently. He put big old Wendigo. He jacked up the shocks to their lowest mounting position and put Wendigo tires on it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it crawl, but that's what's neat about that chassis too, is it's kind of adjustable. You can slide it back and forth.
Yeah, I like that too. So I actually have like a Proline van body that fits perfectly on it. So that's sort of my next build, is making like a 1970s surf van using the Gen 8 platform.
That's awesome. I got the Ford Bronco, like 1973 body, which I don't know why I did that, because it looks so much like the Scout already. But I just am kind of a sucker for that shape.
Yeah, sort of boxy, but
yeah, cool. I like it. I actually want one of the new Broncos really bad, like the real one. Have you seen those?
Yeah, the new ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Come on, with the Sasquatch package, let's do this. It's got a crawler gear. You can get those limb risers. Right. Like, it's full mod potential on a real truck.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right there when you finance it. I mean, they're going to take Jeep's lunch with that Ford Bronco, I swear.
There's an old Bronco that drives around here, white, like super decked out, overlandy style. It's really cool. So
that's fantastic. Haley, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go. Hopefully you'll stay in the wings a minute, maybe. I'm going to wrap up the show too.
Sweet.
So guys, say goodbye to Haley. Bunch of emojis.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Check her out, guys. Seriously.
Cool. All right.
Thanks. Well, I'll see you in a minute, Haley.
See you later.
Or see you later.
Had to do that.
TM. That's so good. Oh, goodness. That was fantastic. Yeah, lots of emojis, guys. What a good time. I was super looking forward to this show. What a great channel. I tell you what, if you like RC, stick around. You get to learn and watch her learn how to fly. And then if you're into this crawler stuff at all, like, you're going to get tremendous value out of her content. And if you just like really fire posts to pop up in your Instagram feed, then she's one to follow for that as well. Great person to talk to. Spent time with her on the phone before, and you know, connected BitGo with her so they could do that Gen 8 job. And you know, whenever she's ready to fly something, I'm sure Bobby will hook her up. So, guys, I am going to wrap it. I'm not going to stay on too long. I'm going to let this show really stand on its own as an interview with her. Air Marshal, you want to come on for the goodbye here? I'm going to let you. I'm going to the bathroom, dude. So I'm going to get you in here for a minute, and then we'll wrap this thing in probably 10 minutes. So, Air Marshal, thank you so much as well. Come on board if you're ready.
What's up?
Say hello to the people. I'll be right back.
Hey guys. Hey, I guess Ryan needed a bathroom break. So it's been fun, hanging out in the background. Awesome interview from Ryan and Haley. What a great guest. This was an easy one to produce. Just kind of sitting back, watching the chat. I did, man. I couldn't take the beard anymore. Sorry, guys. I know it was all cool. And Amy was upset. George Watts, I can't hear out of it, which is interesting. So these headphones, they're like, the over-the-ear style Bose headphones, and I can hear with those, but when I take them off, I can't hear squat out of that left ear. The pain from my ear episode yesterday. So for those that don't know, I was in a Zoom call yesterday morning with my office, and I had to sneeze.
Yeah.
So I held my nose and I
That's cheese
sneezed, and
whiz. So I want to get it.
it blew out my eardrum. So
But yeah, for a second, come on.
it hurt a little.
Can't hear nobody. It's all right.
Dave, what's happening? I see you. Jason, what's happening? You're in here. Oh, I can't hear nothing. What's up with
What?
that?
I think you can.
There. Okay, now I can. Now I can. What's up, Jason? Very cool show. Dave, thank you so much. I didn't hear a word you were saying while I went for a minute.
No, it's all right. People were asking about my busted eardrum, so I told them a little story.
Goodness.
But the pain is gone, but I'll tell you, it was awful yesterday. Very painful.
Draco, the closest thing to an airplane crawler. Haha, says Jason. We'll find out soon. Bert, Barry Campbell, Pterodactyl, Keith Christie, BitGo in the house. Good to see everybody. Did she leave, Dave, or is she in the wings?
I'm not sure. I know she turned off her camera and stuff, but I don't.
Okay. We'll get off and say goodbye here in a minute. So, guys, thank you so much for the being here for the show. I hope Dave did a really good job at highlighting things I think that pertinent to the conversation, and even not. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the show as much as I did. I thought it was wonderful to get to introduce you all to RC Girl because she does such a great job, and she's a good buddy to have. So I appreciate you. Steve Gubala, what's up? Boss 223, Pilot Jerry. Bobby, you want to come say hi for a minute? I'm getting ready to say goodbye to everybody, man. You just want to pop your head in, say hey?
Yeah, so Jason, I was making some jokes, that you guys were waiting for Uncle Joe to send us a big fat paycheck before y'all released any nice red planes, and I think the magic is going to happen. We should be getting.
According to my intel, an influencer near you might be getting one very soon.
Yep. So Uncle Joe's hooking it up. You get a Draco, you get a Draco. You get a Draco.
So good. Okay, guys, what a great show. Thank you so much for coming by. We had a good Thursday live stream where we discussed the new E-flite Ultra Micro A10. Of course, I did videos on it. So check that out. Fred Barron says he just got the new DJI FPV quad for $165 off Facebook. I think it's going to be interesting. So, guys, thanks so much. I am going to wrap it. I really appreciate it, guys. If you're watching this on the replay, links to RC Girl, links to RC Air Marshal. Thanks again for putting this together. You do a great job. I couldn't do it without you, and I just wouldn't want to without you.
Yep, it was fun. It was fun. This was a good one.
It was fun. It was fun. I wanted to spend the time preparing, and guys, her yellow T28 video is awesome fun. Like, check it out. Go watch one of your buddies work it out. It was a good one. It was a lot of fun, and it's well put together. And I swear it'll keep your attention the whole time. It's paced really well, and I'd invite you to check it out. Guys, we're going to dip. Different kind of show. I want to do some more of these. This is kind of what my original intention was anyway. So I think we'll probably do some more of these. Not every time, but I like the interview. I like spending time really studying up on a guest to honor their time that they've sacrificed to come on and goof around with us. So I hope I asked the questions that you guys wanted answers to, and let me know if I can do a better job. So with that, Dave, what do you say?
It seems like a good time to count it on out.
We fitting to bounce up out this place in 5. Hanger rats forever. 3 you later. You're too good to be forgotten. We will see you next time. See you in the comment section, and stay tuned. I got a lot of content to edit through. New stuff coming all the time. Check out her Gen 8 crawler video too. It's fantastic. See you guys.
Good night, fellas.
Good night. Appreciate it.